Weights now to one of the best prospects in the country, possibly one of the best prospects in Europe. He's the Commonwealth middleweight champion, and he added the British middleweight title to his haul. He's unbeaten and ready to march on in no uncertain terms. He's also a friend of the show. It's Darren Barker, and to be honest, I'm not quite sure how to refer to him these days. I'm going to stick to British and Commonwealth middleweight champion.
Yeah, it's got a nice ring to that. I like that.
Yeah, that's the simple way, isn't it, really? Just call you by your titles.
That's it, mate.
Of course,
good.
There was a problem a few years ago when Roy Jones had 9 titles.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll just leave it for the 2 at the minute.
Yeah, leave it at 2. Darren, 2009, you picked up the Commonwealth title, then you picked up the British title, but still in some ways a frustrating year in a bizarre way.
It did start off that way. I mean, I've only had the 2 this year, but I mean, that I've sort of forgotten that, because at the end of the day, the #1 goal for the end of this year was to win the British.
And you did that?
So I've done that, yeah. So I mean, that was the main objective. I mean, obviously, you know, we wanted the Macklin fight. All of us were very disappointed. I mean, I was absolutely gutted, because it was a massive fight. It's one everyone wanted to see, and it's one I really fancied. But I mean, like I said, the main goal was to win the British, and yeah, I mean, started off a frustrating year, but ended up being, a fantastic one.
Yeah, I mean, and that fight was done and dusted. We let listeners know that the purse bid was done. There were a couple of dates out there, and Macklin decided to relinquish the British title and fight for the European. So where does that leave you heading into 2010, Darren? You looking at making 1 or 2 more British title defences, getting that Lonsdale belt for keeps, or have you got your eye still on the European, maybe chasing Macklin?
That's an option, and the European's an option, but to be deadly honest, I mean, if there was a way, I think we'll sit down. I think if there was a way we could sort of chase one of these world titles.
Good.
For instance, the IBF. I mean, I'll probably have to jump into a couple of the eliminators first, which would put me in good stead anyway, because obviously there'd be tough opposition. So I mean, I'd sort of fancy going down that route, to be honest with you. I mean.
So you're ready to move to world level. You're ready to. I mean, you're world class anyway, but you're ready to move there and stay there.
I think so. Look, I'm 27 now. I mean, I'm well in my prime, I'd say. I'm fast approaching, or in my prime, and I think with these, like I said, the 2 eliminators I might have to get me in line for a world title shot would be, good fights and good opposition, and I mean that would put me right up to where I'd want to be.
I'm pleased you said that, because no disrespect to some of your potential British title challengers, but you just be, in my opinion, you just be treading water for another year, and you don't need to tread water. You need to march on, son.
That's the thing with me as well. I need to be excited, and I mean the other British fighters out there don't, not being disrespectful. And
I mean, telling the truth.
They don't really excite me, and I know I'm ready to be pushed on and start, be unleashed on the world scene. I mean, the European, I would never want to sidestep that, but it looks like Macklin's sort of busy with that, and he's got his mandatory. So, I mean, if I was to hang around waiting for that, I don't suppose that would happen till the end of next year anyway. So,
what's the point?
I might as well go, try and get this world title.
You could be lined up for as you say, a world title fight by October.
Exactly, yeah.
And it says the key is to stay busy. Right, listen, before I let you go, give me your high from your boxing high from 2009. Not necessarily your career, but something that in boxing in 2009 that you think, yeah, that was quite good. That I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, it's not about me, but the British winning the British is a dream come true.
Yeah.
That was one, and for me, I think because I'm close with him under the Hennessy camp and stable, is Cole doing well in the Super Sixes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's sort of flying the flag for us in that tournament, and I mean, I'm really buzzing with that. And I mean, a lot of people have sort of quoted off David Hayes' performance against Valuev for whichever reason I do not understand. But I mean, it's good to have a world heavyweight champion as well.
Yeah, listen, at least he's got the world title. Forget the fight,
Exactly.
he's got the title.
I don't understand why who wants to stand and go toe to toe with a 7-foot giant. You know what I mean?
You know what amazes me? Darren, and it upsets me, is my colleagues in the press are somehow criticising him for winning a world title, doing it on his own, making 4 or 5 million quid. It's a fairy tale. It shouldn't be criticised.
Exactly. And we've got heavyweight champion of the world now. And he's British.
And whether you like him or not, David, he's a bit of a crank. He's got a sense of humour. He has a laugh.
I mean, I'm a big fan of his, and
of course you were with him in the Commonwealth. Now, what about your low from 2009? For outboxing, anything that's happened.
That has to be a personal one for me, really. It's the Macklin fight falling through.
Yeah.
I mean, that meant an awful lot to me. And
I think that for British boxing, that was a low, if you want my honest opinion.
I mean, that's the only one that really sticks out to me, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, because I was absolutely devastated.
Oh, right.
And I mean, earlier on in the year as well, I mean, there was a big chance of me possibly fighting Buddy at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was before he lost, and I mean, I was gutted with that as well.
Yeah, well, listen, you know what, you got time. You've got time on your side. You can just stick in there. There's plenty of fights, plenty of decent fights. Not necessarily next year, but the year after. As far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of light middles and middles out there. Some big money fights.
It's exciting times for me. You know?
Listen, it certainly is. Well, listen, a Dazzler. That's the other one. Dazzling Dazzler, Discoteca. I don't even know what to call you anymore. In the way
I think you should just. I'll let you be the judge. You can name me. I think you're quite a fan of the disco, aren't you?
Listen. Hey, listen. Easy. I could sense there was a little bit of sarcasm in your voice there. I grew up in the discoteca age, my son.
Oh,
listen, Darren. Enjoy your Christmas. Thanks very much.
Too,
we'll see you and speak to you in the new year.
Yeah, we'll do. Take care, Steve.
Back to the